Imagine you're alone in a dark room, the bluish light of your phone slicing through the night like a cold blade, your fingers trembling as they scroll across the screen, revealing words not meant for you, digital whispers full of dark promises and forbidden desires that make your heart freeze and the air around you feel heavier, as if something invisible is watching, waiting for the moment to reveal itself. What if this message didn't come from a mortal lover, but from something far worse, something that transcends flesh and bone, pulling you into an abyss where betrayal blends with the supernatural? Would you dare to keep reading, or pretend you never saw it? My name was Anna, or at least that's how I remember myself before everything inside me started to unravel, as if my memories were loose threads being pulled by unseen hands. I lived in an old house on the outskirts of the city, the kind with walls that creak at night as if whispering ancient secrets. Marcos, my husband, was the kind of man you think you know to the core, with deep brown eyes that seemed like wells filled with stories, he whispered softly before we slept, his warm body next to mine in bed, smelling of soap and something earthier like wet soil after the rain. We had a simple life, 2 children running through the house, their laughter echoing like music. But beneath it all, I felt a creeping insecurity, like a mist seeping through cracks, making me question whether I was enough, whether the years of marriage had extinguished the fire that once consumed us. Marcos worked as an archivist in an old museum, handling forgotten relics objects he claimed carried the energies of the past. I laughed it off, thinking it was just his vivid imagination, but now I wonder if he had been warning me all along. Everything changed that autumn night when the wind howled outside like lost souls, banging against the windows as if asking to come in. I picked up his phone from the bedside table just to check the time, but a notification flashed, illuminating the screen with words that hit me like a punch in the stomach. Come to me tonight, my eternal love. My touch still burns on your skin. The sender was a name I didn't know, Elara, and the tone was far too intimate, full of a passion I no longer felt from him. My heart raced, the room seeming to spin slowly, the air growing colder, as if a presence had entered with me. I scrolled up, seeing more messages, exchanges of love, vows, descriptions of meetings in dark places, kisses that lasted eternities, and every word felt like a betrayal driving itself into me, feeding the insecurity that always whispered I wasn't beautiful enough, young enough to keep him. But something was wrong. The messages seemed old, with dates that made no sense, mixed with current ones, as if time itself had folded in on itself. I said nothing at the moment, keeping the poison to myself, but from then on, the house changed. Lights flickered on their own at night, shadows stretched in corners like reaching fingers, and I awoke to whispers from Marcus's phone even when it was turned off. Insecurity consumed me during the day at work, counting numbers in cold spreadsheets. But my mind wandered to images of him with Elara, imagining her with night black hair, eyes shining like fallen stars, touching him in ways I had long forgotten. At night, I watched him sleep, his chest rising and falling steadily, but his dreams seemed restless murmurs escaping his lips, calling for her. Elara, come back to me, and I shrank into the bed, the smell of mold rising from the mattress, as if something rotten were seeping into our life. I tried confronting him once, casually asking about strange messages. But he laughed, saying it was spam, maybe a virus. And his eyes darted away a lie. I felt like an icy chain around my neck. Things worsened when I started investigating on my own, checking his phone secretly while he showered, steam filling the bathroom like a spectral fog. I found photos, blurry but discernible, showing an ethereal woman dressed in old-fashioned clothes, like from a past century, posing in ruins resembling the museum where he worked. The messages spoke of a love that transcended death, promises made under full moons, and I shivered as if cold fingers brushed my neck. One night, the phone vibrated in my hand on its own, a new message appearing. She knows about us now. Be careful, or I will take her with me. My blood ran cold, the room darkening suddenly, curtains moving without wind, and I dropped the device, running for the light. But insecurity had turned into terror, a primal fear that this betrayal was not merely physical, but something that defied reality, pulling Marcos into an abyss I could not follow. I decided to follow him one afternoon, leaving the children with a neighbor. My heart pounding like a war drum as I trailed his car to the museum, an old building with towers standing like shadowy sentinels against the grey sky. I saw him enter, but instead of staying in the office, he descended to the basement where forbidden artifacts were kept. Cursed items, the curators whispered, were haunted. I waited outside, the air smelling of dust and decay, and when night fell, I saw a faint light flickering below, like a dancing flame. I sneaked in, my steps echoing like accusing whispers, and found him kneeling before an ancient mirror covered by a cloth he had removed, murmuring words in a dead, ancient language. In the reflection, it was not him I saw, but a female Elara with moon-pale skin and blood-red eyes reaching through the glass, touching him, and Marcos moaned with pleasure and pain, his body trembling as if being pulled inside. Horror paralyzed me, the air heavy with a metallic scent like old blood, and I screamed, breaking the spell. Marcos turned, eyes glazed, and Elara in the mirror smiled at me, a smile promising eternal torment. He confessed everything then, collapsing at my feet, crying tears that seemed dyed in darkness. Years ago at the museum, he had found the mirror an artifact from a forgotten era, and upon cleaning it had released Elara, supernatural entity, a succubus, or something worse, a soul betrayed in life by unrequited love, now feeding on mortal insecurities, weaving betrayals to drain the living. She promised me eternal youth, endless passion, he whispered, voice hoarse like dry leaves. But it was a trap, and now she wants you to complete the cycle. I felt her presence, then a cold wrapping round my legs, whispering old doubts into my mind, amplifying my insecurity until I questioned whether Marcos had ever truly loved me, or if it was all an illusion woven by her. We fought together after that, nights spent researching ancient books he brought from the museum. Like a passage from a grimoire, the shadows of the past betray weak hearts, and only the fire of truth can banish them into the void. We burned herbs, recited charms, but Elara grew stronger with our discord, appearing in dreams where I saw Marcos in her arms, his body wilting like a dead flower while she laughed, a sound like breaking glass. The children sensed it too, waking, screaming from nightmares of a pale woman at the window, and the house became a labyrinth of fear. Doors slamming by themselves, messages appearing on my phone, calling me to the mirror. Betrayal was no longer just his. It was hers, using our insecurities as portals to enter our world, feeding on our emotional pain until we were hollow. But the turning point came on a full moon night. When we confronted Elara in the basement, the mirror glowing like a portal to hell. Marcos held my hand, swearing true love, and together we smashed the glass with a hammer, blessed by ancient rituals, shards flying like liberated souls. Her scream echoed, a lament shaking the floor, her ethereal body dissolving into black smoke that smelled of burned betrayal. Marcos collapsed, exhausted but alive, and I embraced him, feeling warmth return to his body, insecurity dissipating like morning mist. Yet pieces of the mirror remained, and sometimes, in the dark, I hear whispers, wondering if she is truly gone or waiting for another weakness to return. Today, our family survives, stronger but marked by invisible scars. Knowing the supernatural hides in everyday betrayals, waiting to devour the insecure. And you, have you ever seen a message that opened doors to the beyond, or felt a presence amidst the pain of betrayal? If this sent chills down your spine, it's because this story needed to find you in the dark. Share in the comments if something like this has haunted you, and subscribe to the channel. But only if you dare to face more shadows that no one dares to reveal.